Our next speaker is Anastasia Kazakova from JetBrains. She came all the way from Russia to talk about C-Line, their C++ IDE, and show us some IDE live coding stuff. So please, everybody, welcome her.
So yeah, hi everyone. So to tell the truth, I have nothing in common with audio development, to tell you the truth, just from the very beginning. But I'm a C++ developer. I spent 8 years doing networking and some embedded Linux development. And what I do for JetBrains, I mostly talk. So I like presenting our C++ IDE to the community and try to get the feedback from the community. So who is here? Just heard something about JetBrains? Just raise your hands. Oh, great. That's really cool. So we do tools for developers. We're really keen on that. So we have IntelliJ IDEA, we have ReSharper, we have PHP Storm, we have PyCharm, so dozens of tools. And just this year we started C-Line, that is a cross-platform IDE for C and C++. And so I'm going actually to show a live demo of the C-Line here, showing you some key features, some cool features. I call it magic, but that's not the magic. That's what the IDE can actually do every day for you. And that's actually great. That's what I like about it. So just a few words from the very beginning. So the IDE is cross-platform. That means you can run it on Linux, Windows, or macOS. Doesn't matter. So currently we use the GCC and Clang as a compiler. So, and that means that on Windows you should set up a MinGW or Cygwin toolchain. You can also use the Intel compiler. We're not testing very widely with it, but still you can do. It's more or less working, so for most of the cases. As for the debugger, it's a GDB backend, or you can set up a LLDB in case you're on Mac. And for the project model, we're currently on a CMake. That means you need to have a CMake project to open it in C-Line. There are a couple of workarounds around that. First of all, you can wait for Makefile supports coming hopefully next year. Another way is you can import your project into CMake. C-Line has some kind of an import functionality. It's not that wide. It's just for you to start at least with the CMake. And another way is for those who are on Mac or with the Xcode project. Actually, the whole C++ functionality I will be showing here is also available in the app code. That's the tool for iOS development from the JetBrains, but it supports the C++ and it's based on Xcode toolchain. So if you're with the Xcode project, just open it in app code and have the same experience just inside the app code. So it doesn't matter. And we have the live trials for all our tools. So if you just go to jetbrains.com, select a product, we have a 30-day free trial for every tool. And then you can just buy a license. There are thousands of discounts and all the stuff. So yeah, let's start from the very beginning. The very beginning for me is just to create a class, actually. For that, I will just go with some embedded functionality that helps me creating a class. I will call it human. So you see that because we're actually integrated with the CMake, it shows me some CMake targets where I could add actually my files to automatically. So it will be added here, so I can select from the list. So it got me some target pre-selected due to some extent, and I will select this. So when I add actually a file, it will also ask me about adding to Git, mostly because my project is living on a GitHub, and we have integration with various version control systems on board. So it's not only about Git. So what has happened actually here is that I have my files added to my CMake target, and of course I have my CPP and header files, so I can switch between them with a shortcut. So actually there will be quite a lot of shortcuts. There will be this green line in the bottom showing the shortcuts, and actually that's mostly because I've just installed the plugin to show you the shortcuts on Mac and Windows Linux just at the same time. So we're really keen on key maps. So we believe that every action in the IDE should be bundled to some kind of shortcut. We have a lot of key maps. There are quite a big list predefined, and you can configure your own key map. And then share it with the team. So I'm using just the basic default key map. I got used to it. So here I will start with some, I will code just a little bit. More or less I will be auto-generating the code. So I will add just some members. Let's have weight here as well. more or less that's it. Now I will generate the code. So first of all, I will generate the constructor for my class. You see, I can generate constructor, destructors, and some other things. I will start with the constructor. I will select the fields to add to be initialized inside the constructor. It will be looking like that. So what else I would like to do? Let's add some getters and setters. More is better. So you see quite a lot of code was just auto-generated. I didn't type anything except of the members. So now let's have some more. So one class is just too boring. Let's have some bigger class, call it mammal, and just better to use auto-completion, not to make mistakes. So I have a class mammal here, and you see that the navigation action just appeared here immediately for me. So the ID knows that I just inherited from the mammal class, and I can just navigate between them. There are also shortcuts for these sections for sure. So let's do some thing here. Let's add something virtual void, let's call it somehow, I don't know, make sound, because we're something around sound. Let's make something. Let's assume that mammal can make a sound. That's good, but I would like a human also to make a sound, actually. And what I can do actually here, I can generate, let me just put this up for you to see. Let's just override some functions. And just to pay attention on some details here, while showing me the methods I could override, actually I could choose a function here. You can see some options here like insert override attribute, and that's very important because actually this is only shown in case you're using C++11. So if you are not pointing the C++11 in your CMake file, the C line won't be showing it for you because it will be like, it shows you only in case you are using the actual possibilities. So that's how it works. So I have like, I can just prepare some definition, and there is the declaration here. That's with the override keyword as I just selected. So okay, now let's type something more. I would do a void BMI function body mass index. And you see the highlighting here is saying me that the function is actually not implemented. And what is good about CLine, that is actually showing me the possible problems in my code, but it's not only showing, it's helping me to fix them actually, because if I press Alt-Enter, that's the magic shortcut working for all our IDEs, and I can actually implement the function from here. Okay, so I got it here. Let's do some not very correct code here. I will return, so what is body mass? It's weight divided by squared height, I believe. You see, the C line is also highlighting me saying that, hey, you're returning float from the function that's return void. That's not correct. I say, okay, just change the return type for me. So let's the IDE do this job for me automatically. So, okay, now I have some kind of a function that's, let's check that the declaration was also changed here. It's float now. So I have this function, but let's assume I don't have this like height squared height. I have like some function, it's called square height, that I would like to calculate the height squared. So, and it's of course not always, it's not here, so the IDE can't resolve it. Okay, I said just create a function for me from this usage, and it will do it for me. So you see that you can start using something and then create a declaration. That's what the IDE suggests you to do. So let's do some height. And now some more. So we have this squared method. Let's first check that it's not 0, for example. So I will do it in the way I will call the refactoring menu. So it's quite long. It depends on the context, actually. That's not all that is inside. So I will extract the variable here. You see again, because I have the C++11, it's substituted the auto type here for me to use. So I have this d variable with type auto that's just put, and I put the square height method output there. So what I can do now is just I can like select this line and do some more thing to auto generate is the thing that we call surround with. So you can generate some templates that surround in your code, like for with else or while or do while. So I will select the if else, and I will just, if this is not 0, just do this, and in other case return something doesn't matter, like -1. Okay, so you see that quite a lot of generation is on board. So you can generate constructors, destructors, getters, setters, override, implement methods. You can create from usage. You can surround with. So just most of the code is just written more or less automatically. So another good thing is that let me add some other data member here, so-called edge. And I don't have it in the constructor. So let me just fix this problem as well within my favorite altenter and I will ask the C-line to add a parameter to constructor. Actually, it will show me the whole signature, how it will look like after the changes. And it will refactor, and I have this age field here as well. So if you have several constructors, it will ask you to select which one constructor do you actually would like to add this member. So when I'm talking about that the IDE actually knows about your code, what I meant, except for the case that it knows about the C++11 you're using, it also have all these inspections and intentions, as we call them. So I will show you there is quite a big list here, not going to show you all of them because it's really crazy. So for C++, there are a couple of intention actions. They're just changing how your code is looked like in some more or less way, so you can replace some constructs, or you can replace if-else or back to this notation, and more in the list. And we also have code inspections. I'm going to show it here for you. So, but before, let's do some other smart things here, just showing you the very basic thing that I really like. So you've all probably heard about like code completion is like, everyone have the code completion, that's obvious. So, but let me do some crazy thing, like I will have the string name here, and I will have some method, I don't know, let me call it test, just doesn't matter. So what I want to have here is just string. Let me do something. So you see the usual completion will show you here the full list of the members. And that's actually not the thing that I want, because what I want is actually the thing that's matching the type on the left. And for that thing, I will actually call the smart completion, because I have only one field it will complete immediately in case I have some. Let me add some surname here. Surname. Okay, so just again, and so you see I have 2 in the list now. So they're both strings, so it filtered out all the values that do not match the value on the left, actually. That's what the smart completion does for you. So the very basic feature with the completion is a little bit more profound if you're using it in a smart way with the smart completion. So when I say that the C-line knows about your code quite a lot, that means that all the find usages stuff and like all the navigation stuff, all the renaming stuff will work actually inside the context. So that means that if you're like, for example, searching for a symbol, it won't just search for the text matches. It will search for exact matches of that particular symbol in the code. It doesn't matter that you have the same symbol with the same name somewhere else. It won't touch it. So then we have some quite good understanding of the code that I can show you here, like this nice macro example, as I call it. So let me say I have these class definitions done with the macros. So I have a couple of classes defined here. And you see what the completion actually does for me. It shows me that I have class 1 and class 2. So it understands what's inside the macro. It actually expands it. Okay, so some more thing here is this little bit crazy example with the C++11. So when you actually don't know the type of this variable. And for functional languages, our users more or less got used to this functionality. The C++ users, they just start with C++11, understand that they can write a code when they don't know the type actually. And for this we have some kind of a help trick. So if you call the quick documentation in C-line will just show the infer type here. So if I have, for example, integer here, of course it will be int, like that. So that's just because IDE actually inferring the types just in the background. So it knows the actual type because it uses this for all the code generation and all the things around. So talking about the code analysis and code inspections, like the IDE knows about your code, is this very nice example. So you can guess why this code here is unreachable, why the IDE is actually showing this to you. Because if you look at the previous switch statement, you can get that I'm assigning just red, blue, or green color to the C variable, and nothing like yellow or something else. And that's actually is data flow analysis. That could not be done by some compiler warnings and everything like that. It's the usual code analysis things called data flow, and we do this. So C-Line can does it for you easily. So like this is the cases from the CPPCon that Neil McIntosh was actually showing on the slides, and I really like them because this one is quite simple. You can guess that the condition is always false, but this one is more tricky, and the IDE is also showing you that the condition is false. And apart from just showing you the problem, you can just apply some quick fix like remove substatements, or if you're missing some switch statements, add what is actually missing. And very good example of how the code analysis can help you in many ways is the go to fail problem from Apple, I believe. Some of you have heard about it. So they had this breach in the SSL protocol, and it came from some code looks very similar to that. And there are actually 3 ways of fixing it with some smart IDE. First of all is the code style. So we have the code style options applied on the fly. So we have thousands of them to configure. So like I won't show everything, it will like last forever. So, but if they are configured, actually if you press the enter here, you will get the proper indent. You will never get to that position. That's the one way. Another way is just to use actual code analysis and to see that the code is unreachable. And the third way, there was some assumption that the problem was introduced during the merge. And actually, if you do the committing the changes, you can actually perform the code analysis on that stage. So after you merge the code, you can still check that nothing is broken with the C-Line. So that was about the code analysis. So I showed you the whole list of the refactorings. Just one refactoring that makes me feel crazy about the C-Line is like this one. This is the change signature. I will call it here. I will add another field here. So you see that I have the code completion for the type. I will refactor. You see the usages was updated here. So I have the usage. I have C-Line has substituted the default type for me. And I will be more crazy now. I will just switch the order. Oops, and yeah, the usages is also updated, so I will never get the problem at that stage, because if I haven't switched them off, I could just I could get a problem while running this code. So this was mostly about the refactoring. The list is really very long, so I can rename, I can change signature, I can extract whatever I like, and I can go for the hierarchy with the pulling members up and down. I don't think I have time for showing all these things for you. I will just show you the list. Also, there is quite a lot of things in the navigation, like going to class file symbol, building the hierarchies like imports hierarchy that can even go for the library files, so to see how is the library files are included into one and another. So quite a lot of stuff here. And because I've said that we have a debugger, there is also the debugger built in. And with the GDB OLDB backend, you can just run it with the interface we have on board, and it will show you a couple of nice things, like I hope it will start now. I hope I haven't broken the application. Yeah. So the good thing that I really like about our debugger is that this thing. This is actually the real values of the variable on the fly. So we're showing the inline variables view in the editor. So you don't have to switch to any other tool window to have a look at that. You can either then evaluate expressions, you can set values on the fly, so do the whole stuff of things available. And you have a usual GDB or LDB console here, so if you'd like to do some crazy stuff with your debugger, just all the features of GDB is available in this console. So that was about the debugging. We also have Google Test support on board currently. Yeah, just not the good application. Google Test support on board with the built-in test runner and code generation for tests. VCS integration that I was using, like quite a lot of things here. There's also Perforce that is missing in the list, but we also have it with a plugin. So, and yeah, talking about the plugin, there's dozens of plugins in the repository. And hopefully once we have the plugin with Juice on top of C-Line, and that will make it more better for you, I believe. So I think that's it. So if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. I think we have just 1 or 2 minutes for the questions.
Yeah, 5 minutes actually.
Okay, that's actually great. Yeah. So just feel free to ask. I can show some additional things.
I just wanted to ask, so AppCode is all the same thing except that it works with an Xcode project?
AppCode was actually created from the very beginning for iOS development, so it supports Objective-C, Swift, and C and C++ as well. So it's run only on macOS because it's like on top of the Xcode toolchain. So it's using the Xcode build, the Xcode-based project, and all the stuff around the Xcode. So yeah, if you're doing like the Xcode-based things, you can just go to AppCode and experience the same level of C++ there.
So that would work with Juice.
Yeah, so just it depends on what you're actually using, CMake or Xcode or whatever. So I personally prefer CMake because I'm a little bit a CMake girl, so and really like it. I used it for many cross-platform projects. So, but yeah, it's your choice. Yeah.
Hi, it looks great, but how fast is it if you're using like a really big project and you're changing signatures?
Yeah, that's actually a good question about the performance. So we have it quite often. So there are a couple of things I should tell here. So first of all, it depends not on the size of your project, but on the complexity, because it actually depends how heavily you use the C++11, for example. Because if your code is full of very addicting templates, of course, it's quite tough because the C++, we do the building of the symbols and parsing in the very beginning. Then we have the incremental parse. But with C++, you can just type the define before the include header, and everything just goes wrong. Everything is changed because you have to reparse the header. That could cause some problems, but there are a couple of tricks. First of all, of course, we're working on performance and trying to make it faster in many ways. The second is that you can increase the memory because it's built on Java, so you can just add some memory to the JVM, and it really helps because for some big projects with a heavy use of C++11, just increasing the default value of the RAM assigned to the IDE really helps to make it more responsive. So, and there is the last tricky way is just if you experience some performance problem, don't hesitate to report it to us. Maybe we've missed something and we should fix something. So yeah. Thank you. You're welcome.
So as ReSharper for C++ and CLion and AppCode got the same C++ refactoring features?
So ReSharper for C++ is a little bit another story. It's for those who don't know, so we have ReSharper that's plugin for Visual Studio, and they integrated the C++ support as well, and it's called ReSharper C++. It's more or less the same experience. So the thing here is that it's done with two different teams, and we have two different C++ parsers just for testing two approaches. And so it's more or less the same, like we try to keep the feature list very similar. So the whole list of refactorings looks very similar, and that's true, but sometimes it has some differences. So could be some small difference because actually it's two different teams, two different roadmaps, two different, trackers with feature requests. So some things could be different, but the major thing stays more or less the same. That's true.